And that's the Houston Museum of Funeral History. Such a fascinating place for me. Something that has to do with the unknown. It's a fascination with death, I guess, because we're all gonna get there no matter what. We're gonna all pass away, right? So it's just that unknown. Am I gonna be able to? My spirit gonna be around? My spirit gonna be around where I can, like the paranormal stuff that happens, or is it like other ideas of we're just die, we turn to ash, and we turn into dirt, and it's gone. We're gone forever. I mean, is there a heaven? Is there a hell? Or is it that? I think that's the fascination with it. Just the unknown. Very, very unknown thing for us, but it's gonna happen to us, Does it hurt? I don't know. It's just a weird thing for me. And they have so many cool stuff when you're leaving, right? Dude, I need to get something. What? Oh, Prince. Two, three.
Because people ask me so many questions. Where'd you find this? Oh, it's in this yellow one. In the yellow.
Yeah, it showed me yesterday.
Yeah. For the docents, because I was gonna say I have a copy of it at home because they gave me them during the training.
Oh, did they?
For the shroud.
Yeah, so I'm just reading through all these.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good idea to know what's back there.
Yeah, because people
One
ask
day
me,
I
and
have
I'm
to
like,
take you on a tour.
yes, absolutely.
So we are in the Museum of Funeral History. This is the hearse that Ronald Reagan was, his procession, which Ronald Reagan was carried in. My most favorite president. I have a story about that. Unbelievable, man. When I went to the museum in California, his library in Simi Valley, it brought me to tears because that was the president that was the president that did a lot for the world, not just for the country. He did a lot, and that's a story I got to tell. One of my bucket list was so I'm a immigrant from I got here when I was 2 years old, and became legal when Ronald Reagan allowed us to stay here, and I promised myself that I was going to go one day and thank him. You know, it wasn't in person. Oh wow, it wasn't in person, but I went to his gravesite. I said thank you. That was a big guy. Gerald Ford's funeral service cards. $762. Wait, those are not. Guess I'll go this way. This is one that hurt me the most. Ronald Reagan. Faces of Abe Lincoln. Like real photographs of Abe Lincoln. 1865.
I'll take a gander at Faces of Abe and then move on.
Another great man. General Grant. Nixon. Lyndon B. Johnson. Roosevelt. That newspaper from 1945, April 12th. All these people that did something for the world, you know. And most of us just run around trying to make money, buy a house, get married, have kids, you know, the whole rat race routine that they gave us that we're so used to, accustomed to in life. Our parents did, and our parents tried to pass that down to us. There's a lot of great men that did something. Newspaper from 1901. Wow. 1881, real newspaper. Morning badge for President William McKinney. I'm sure that penny that's worth $500,000 or $1 million is not here. It's the one that they made pre-World War II when they started changing from copper to steel, but they made one out of bronze. I'm sure that one's not here. They made quite a few of them, but they found them and destroyed most of them, but some of them actually got out of the mint. And if you ever find one of those times, you have about $500,000. They're still around, very, 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 very seldom, but I think there was only 3 known to exist, but never know. Just like that Superman comic book, someone found, a contractor found in working on an old house, found it between a bunch of newspapers. Now, you know, it's worth $5 million. 1821. Oh, Ronald Reagan. Newspaper from 1865. Wow, it's so well preserved, except for that little spot, but wow. Morning badge for President Abraham Lincoln. Oh, man. So this book is a confidential book from the United States Secret Service, not meant to be seen by civilians. It details the events of the assassination, the search for John Wilkes Booth, and the carefully guarded truth that Booth was not found and executed as was believed by the public. So he wasn't found and executed. Wow, so he wasn't executed. He wasn't found. Crazy, man. Insane, no way. That changes history, right? This frame contains an original mourning badge worn by President Abe Lincoln's funeral and silver frames from his casket. A flag remnant from a 36-star silk flag that adorned the interior of one of the cars of the Lincoln funeral train. Lincoln's hair remnant. What? Can we even see that? Oh, wow. barely see it, but it's in there. Abraham Lincoln's death mask, post-assassination. Thank God for the Union Army, or this country would have been divided. It wouldn't have been the whole United States. Thank you, Lincoln. God bless this man's soul. Great man. The only president I could say in my lifetime that was actually worth the president of the United States. Only president. Ever since then, no real president has ever done anything even close to what this man did. Great man. Whatever else history may say about me when I'm gone, I hope it will record that I appeal to your best hopes, not your worst fears, to your confidence rather than your doubts. My dream is that you will travel the road ahead with liberty's lamp guiding your steps and opportunity's arm steadying your way. I tell you, great man. Jacqueline Kennedy's acknowledgement card. The original granite stone from the graves of President John F. Kennedy and wife Jacqueline, donated by the Arlington Cemetery. Original. Wow, it's the original elements. Whoa, check that out. I'm sure they don't put out that flame while they're trying to repair it. They have it going somehow. (1963). All original newspapers. You can tell they're so brittle looking. A swath of material used in Catafula platform, used for the President John F. Fitzgerald Kennedy, remains in the state of U.S. Capitol. What is this? how they used to print newspapers back in the days. A copy of President George Washington's funeral bill. They even billed them $99. $11.25. Oh. They even charged him. Even though he was general of the Revolutionary Army that made the United States the United States, they still charged him when he died. What the hell? Dude, that should have been... Whoa, this is like... This embalming machine we used to embalm the body of President S. Truman. Funeral home. Whoa. Man. Wow. President Truman. There's not many human beings alive, I can't say just men, but human beings alive that I admire so much, but there's men and women that I admire so much just for the things that they've done. Some of them could have been famous, but I don't really care because they don't really do anything. Adjustable springs, separate mattresses, standard equipment. I want one of those orthopedic mattresses in my casket. You know, like the purple mattress. Morning medallions. I don't know what to think about this. You know? The Masons, it's something I've always, another thing I'm very intrigued about. (1924), another newspaper. (1923). Well, one thing I learned today, that Booth guy that assassinated President Abe Lincoln was never caught. Despite the history we hear, right? I tell you, history is only made by the people that put out the history, not by actual history. They twist it around and do whatever they want and say whatever they want. Just like the Texas Revolution, totally twisted until nowadays when people are starting to say, okay, this is not true, the way we learned it in school. Columbus, all that stuff. Wow, check this out. Built in 1921, this hearse. Back in those days, man, things were just so fancy back in those days. You know, there's like even architecture, home architecture was so awesome. It's had class to it, you know. Everything seemed to have class and style. Look at the lights on these things, you know. It's like every detail, everything is ornamental. Just like the houses. That's why I was always been another fascination with an architect, Frank Lloyd Wright, back in the I believe in the 30s. houses he built, man. This is a funeral history. It's has a lot of hearses and just stuff that they used for funeral processions and stuff like that. Late 1800s, horse-drawn sleigh. That's when it's snowy and they gotta bury you. And a Studebaker, 1929 Studebaker. Wow, man. $1929 Studebaker. Wow, man. Besides, I love old cars, so I'm very. This museum is actually really big. It's a really big museum. When they do cremation, that's how you get cremated. They pull you out, push you in, take your ashes out. That's how you burn. Cremation. This little jar holds cremated remains of Baron Joseph Henry Louis de Palm. Vials such as these were given to medical professionals in attendance to show that there was nothing but pure white ash. The lid of the casket used for Jane Pittman, first woman cremated in the U.S. There's writing on it. It says, what does it say? It's like someone scribbled on it. Door to a crematorium chamber. And
At the refinery, metals are separated and melted into ingots for reuse in the manufacturing process to make items such as new medical implants, cell phones, and more. Cremation is increasingly the preferred choice of disposition.
processing
Yet many do not fully understand
cremated
the
remains.
process of cremation.
Titanium steel back brace. Ooh, dang it, man.
Must be placed in a casket
Someone was cremated, but they have that titanium steel back brace. Oh, stuck to their spine. Dang, oh my God, that looks like it hurts. That looks like it hurts just having it in your body. Titanium steel hip replacement. Steel knee brace. Oh yeah, no, I think I'd rather. Dude, those look like Home Depot screws, like for when you're building a deck. Put them in your spine. Ooh. Hell no, bro. Leave me alone. God forbid. This is a very big museum. It's like huge. With a different type of what do you call these containers? I forgot the correct word for it, but 1910. $1900. $1890s. 1918. An urn, that's what it's called, urn. Teddy bear urns. For pets, animals. Wow. Oh wow. When children pass, if what is left that can never be replaced, a unique and personalized keepsake will forever preserve the memory of your child. Look, too little ink. A print. Wonder if they have like I thought about this one where they bury you underneath and plant a tree over you. I thought about that. Memory glass, I guess, with your ashes in it. Has your ashes in it. Oh man. This is pretty cool. That is so cool. Wow. 1916 Packard funeral bus. Not very comfortable chairs. I guess back in those days it was just wood benches. But man, check out the designs, man. Everything was just so, the tires, even the tires have designs on them. Everything is just so adorned back in those days. Oh, I gotta go this way. It's such a huge museum. It says mercury vapor to bring out the image and set it with salt. Vintage wooded box camera from the 1900. Processing dead pictures of the dead sitting in chairs and vintage tin type camera from the 1800s. Probably like the type that they used for Abraham Lincoln's pictures and all. Tin type of an infant child wearing all whites and supported by cushions, circa 1890s. Death of children, man, that's horrible. Babies, man. Photography studio. Take your Kodak moment and pose sitting in the chair, wooden photography chair with a metal headrest, which was used to keep the person's head perfectly still and not to blur the photograph. What? Wow. Yeah, I don't want to sit in it. Well, maybe I will. Yeah, not good. Not a good feeling. Check out these cars, man. Antique hearse. Such beautiful. I mean, they're hearses, but such a heart. The car, or even the hearses back in those days were just awesome looking. (1916) Buick. I'm a big car guy, so it's like even the hearses are freaking awesome. Even back in those days, so decorated, so awesome looking. Just they had style, not like nowadays. There's really not much style like back in those days, you know. New Orleans. How they do funerals in New Orleans. Big parade. Celebrate your life. Jazz funeral. Only in New Orleans. Only in New Orleans. What a place, man. Tremay. It's a parish in New Orleans. 1938. Another Packard. What a job. Making caskets knowing you're going to be in one of those one day. Whoa. Casket for 3. A casket for 3. So this one, in the 1930s, a couple small child died. The parents were so depressed at the loss of the child that they planned for the husband to murder the wife and then commit suicide. The couple came into a mortuary in one of the western states and explained their plans. They asked that a special casket be ordered large enough to hold the wife, husband, and child. The plans for the casket called for the casket to be built, the murder and suicide committed, and their remains placed in the special constructed casket. The casket was to be shipped to their previous residence, where the child was to be disinterred and placed between the parents for final burial. Oh. Wow. Charlie Daniels, his violin. Bob Hope. Ball bearer, WWF. Moses Malone. Lucille Ball. Michael Jackson. It was just like a concert when they had Michael Jackson's funeral. Like when you buy a ticket, wristband and everything. Where to go? Jim Henson. Believe it or not, I remember those skates, even though I know they're older. Nancy Drew, Matchbox Car, Old Dr. Pepper, Farrah Fawcett, Neil Armstrong. James Dean. Amy Winehouse. The Snow White casket. What is the story behind that one? Robin Williams hiking boots from the movie. There's one, Henry Ford. Thomas Alva Edison. And this is Marilyn Monroe's actual cover for her where she's buried in the mausoleum. This is actually Marilyn Monroe's. Marilyn Monroe's cover. They donated it to the museum. The first one or second, whichever one, but they keep replacing them because a lot of people go over there and kiss the stone and it becomes dirty. It looks very dirty after a while. And you can still see lipstick on some of these. But this one was one of the ones donated to the museum. Oh, man. Movie stars, man. Gene Wilder's hat. That one. I'm fascinated by Marilyn Monroe. I'm fascinated by movie stars. Wow. Early years. Early 1800s. 1800s. Children's Whitehurst, 1900s. Very appropriate. (1832) hearse. 1832. Wow. Wow. A glass casket? Solid glass. (1859) funeral home ledger. So those caskets were made during the Civil War when the soldiers that had their legs amputated because of battlefield injuries or disease were carried around in a wicker basket and were known as basket case, as a basket case. Oh, so that's where that word comes from. Not that you're crazy, that you're handicapped. He's a basket case. Wow. 1900s railroad baggage cart. Oh wow, 9/11. Wow, this is a piece of it. That's where they got it out of. Wow. Unbelievable, man. It's not so much the piece, it's of things, or the object. It's the history behind those objects. A coffin with a glass for viewing the dead. I know if this is just a sample, but if they ever put a glass where they could see me, I'll be smiling. I'll force myself, come back, haunt myself, and put a smile on my face, and the middle finger. Oh wow, look at this. Real bills. Money. 1920s. Holy. What? Uncirculated money. Oh, wow. Wow. Crazy. There's more to this museum. I gotta go see it. It's such an awesome, crazy, freaking museum to come to. How come I never knew about this stuff? Ah, jazz. Medicine Man costume. New Orleans. You see me, but that's got the Pau Peralta, or maybe Pau Peralta got it from them. The skateboard. That's where Pau Peralta got it from, I'm guessing. Where's the other side? There it is. History of embalming. Egyptians were good at that, for sure. Egyptians were definitely good at embalming. Used garlic also. Civil War. Embalming in the field. Dr. Richard Burr embalming during the Civil War in the field. Embalming tools.
To train people for this growing profession, schools of embalming were established, primarily of the traveling variety, moving from city to city and setting up classes in hotels, meeting halls, or wherever space was available. In 1902, this ad for the Myers College of Embalming listed schools
Where they keep your fluids and put all your fluids in.
Cleveland, Boston, Philadelphia, Baltimore, and Wilkes-Barre.
Military, Mott's Military Museum. Civil War embalming pump.
And when schools at last became permanently based, the duration of courses started at 2 weeks, then increased to 1 month, 3 months, 6, 9, and eventually 12 months. This was a typical embalming class of the early 1900s, a sharp contrast to the modern schools of funeral service and mortuary science of the 90s.
They tell you where
Today, depending
to put the pumps and where.
courses may be 1 year in length, 2 years offering an associate degree, or 4 years offering a bachelor's degree. Regardless of the length of study, these schools and the profession for which their students are being trained remain dedicated to performing an important and necessary service to society, assisting in the time-honored ritual of paying respect to those who have passed on from this life.
So cold, huh? Jars that were used. Some will still have liquid in them. Pre-injection compound. That one looks like Jack Daniel's whiskey bottle. That's I guess for the embalmer.
Throughout recorded history, people in every corner
Got a little
of the world
fluid for you, a little fluid for me.
in special ways. Depending on the culture, bodies could be set adrift in burning vessels, laid to rest above the ground, closer to the spirit world, or buried immediately, so they could quickly return to dust. Until the late 19th century, most deceased persons were simply bathed, sometimes treated with oils and spices, sometimes wrapped in bandages, sometimes dressed in special clothing, then buried before natural deterioration had progressed to an unpleasant state. At times, however, it was important to treat the body in a way that would preserve it for an extended period, especially in ancient Egypt, where preservation was important so that body and soul could eventually reunite. Vital organs were sometimes removed.
Civil War spoon made from bone.
Resins and other compounds to prevent nature from taking its course.
Medical knife made from bone.
Times into the 19th century, when preservation was desired,
Scalpel, everything Civil War. They were a bloodletting instrument. So these were definitely all used.
Drying tissue, then applying chemicals to its surface.
Civil War fork, whiskey flask, so it's all Civil War stuff.
Is an accepted part of the funerary process, preserving, sanitizing, and preparing the body so that the bereaved
How many-
pay their final respects.
How many times that's been used, you know?
It is especially valuable in a highly mobile society when family members must often
Oh man.
together in one. Modern embalming methods began about 100 years after the circulation of blood was discovered, when Dr. William Hunter of Scotland and London lectured on the use of arteries in embalming process.
The wake, typical Catholic wake. not very religious, I guess I could say I am, but I haven't been to church or anything like that. I'm gonna start doing that again because I can't. What happens when I die? You know, if it is true, then that God does exist, and I believe He does, and things happen that way. Well, at least I did what I'm supposed to here on earth. The Bible says to have faith. Faith means just not knowing, just believe and go with it without any proof. That's what faith means. Having faith. Because none of us can prove that there's a God, right? It's just something we have to have faith in. A lock of hair, someone's hair. Four watch chains made from human hair. Made from human hair. Those times just seem so, I guess, creepy. Now that we're in these times, we look back and we're like, man, it does seem very creepy, like very, I don't know, haunted-like, Victorian era. This is the Victorian era of mourning stuff and shoes and hats and everything people used to wear. Victorian era. (1888). I wonder what those were used for, the ones right there at the bottom. Like maybe for heating, they put something, coal or something in there maybe to heat the carriage when it was a cold day or something. They look so creepy nowadays. The lives and deaths of the popes. They're supposed to have a robe from one of the popes. I don't remember which one it was. During Ronald Reagan's time. Straight up pimped out shoes, bro. They used to really pimp out the popes. Uniform of an Archiatra Pontificio, 1903-1914. Very well kept. The cloth. John Paul II. I think that he was the one that was around during Ronald Reagan's time.
St. Peter's Square to pay tribute to the pontiff who died in the Vatican.
1978. 1903 newspaper. Wow. So the ritual of striking the Pope's head to determine if he has died is believed to have been replaced by the covering of face with a cloth. So they used to hit the popes in the head with this hammer to make sure he's dead. Or shit, after that, it probably is dead. What if it's the guy with the hammer that they don't really like him? He's gonna make sure he's dead. Papal coffin. Simple. Dude, Check out this pimped out ride. Japanese ceremonial hearse. Hell yeah. Made by Toyota. Oh, Dia de los Muertos, of course. It has to be here. Couldn't be a funeral museum or a death museum if it didn't have Dia de los Muertos, the celebration of the Day of the Dead. They think a lot of people think it's Halloween in Mexico, but it's not. It's to celebrate the past, honor the past, people that have passed away, your relative, your friend, people you know. It's a celebration of happiness, to celebrate them, remember them. You know, it's actually a joyful event. Very happy event, you know. You're sad they're gone, but you're going to celebrate their life and remember them by doing that. They're saying that death is like a rebirth. To understand it. Oh, the Mercedes-Benz that carried the Princess Grace of Monaco in 1982. German hearse. 1850. Ford. Caskets of Cain Quay. Artistic caskets. Fish. So these are all caskets, but they're designs. Crab. A lobster. Chicken. This dude right here. For a child, I'm assuming? No? They're an airplane? A simple casket. So where they had like a door where you could see their face. If they ever put a glass on mine, I would cross my eyes and smile. $1860. It was still being used until 1992. It was still being used it's from 1860 and still being used until 1989. Wow. All the scrapes from so many coffins they put in here. Old. Rolls Royce. Beautiful flag. When I was a kid, I was maybe 5 or 6 years old, and I was so intrigued. I would just love the British flag. Used to tell myself I want to move to England. I don't know why. I was a little kid. I was so enamored with England and English culture and the flag and everything. Maybe it's an old ancient relative from Europe, you know, because Mexicans are European and Indian, or I can't say Indian, native of the Americas. Can't say Indian because when Christopher Columbus came down here and supposedly discovered America, which he didn't discover it, there's already people here, he was actually looking for India. So when he showed up over here, he named the people down here Indians. And like one comedian back in the 1970s said, good thing he wasn't looking for Turkey, because all the natives here would have been called turkeys. Funny, man. Funny how history is, you know. But like I said, history is not always the way we hear it at school or taught. It's always by the people who write it. They write it their way, you know. What a beautiful, what an awesome museum. This is the one. But this is my favorite. Ah, it's so cool.